You are drinking the bodily fluid of another species, produced specifically to turn a baby calf into a 500-kilogram cow. And you are doing it completely voluntarily. Here is the biological reality. Every mammal on Earth produces milk for its young, and every mammal, except most humans, loses the ability to digest milk after infancy. It is not natural to drink milk as an adult. And yet, billions of us do it every single day. In fact, 65% of the world's adult population is lactose intolerant, meaning their bodies correctly stop producing the enzyme needed to digest milk after childhood. The 35% who can drink milk as adults, they have a genetic mutation. Drinking milk is the mutation, not the norm. So how did this happen? Who first looked at a cow and decided to drink its milk? When did humans start? Why did some populations evolve to digest it and others didn't? And is milk actually good for you? Here is the full story. To find the answer, we go back 10,000 years. Humans are just beginning to domesticate animals. Sheep, goats, and cattle are kept for their meat. Nobody is drinking their milk yet. In fact, drinking it would make most people violently ill. Severe stomach cramps, diarrhea, vomiting. The earliest evidence of humans using milk comes from pottery fragments found in what is now Turkey and the Middle East, dating back 8,000 to 9,000 years. Residue analysis shows milk fat on the inside of clay pots. But here is the key detail. Archaeologists believe they were not drinking the milk. They were fermenting it. Fermentation is the key. When milk is turned into cheese or yogurt, most of the lactose is broken down by bacteria. Meaning even people who cannot digest fresh milk can eat fermented dairy products without getting sick. Early humans stumbled onto this accidentally. Milk left in a warm clay pot ferments naturally. They tasted it. It was edible and nutritious. But why drink fresh milk at all? The answer is survival. In early farming communities, crops failed. Animals were slaughtered for meat. But a living cow that can be milked repeatedly is worth far more than a dead one. A single cow can produce thousands of liters of milk per year. For a starving community, the ability to drink fresh milk without getting sick was a life or death advantage. To understand how humans adapted, you need to understand one enzyme, lactase. It breaks down lactose, the sugar in milk, into digestible form. Every human baby produces large amounts of lactase. After weaning in most humans, the gene that produces it switches off permanently. But around 7,500 years ago, in early farming communities in what is now Central Europe, a genetic mutation appeared. A single change in one gene kept the lactase switch permanently on. For the first time in human history, an adult could drink fresh milk without getting sick. And this mutation spread with extraordinary speed. In evolutionary terms, it is one of the fastest genetic changes ever recorded in humans. Because the advantage was enormous. People with the mutation could survive famines that killed their neighbors. They had an extra food source nobody else could access. They had more children. Their children had the mutation. Within a few thousand years, the mutation spread across all of Europe and parts of Africa. But not everywhere. In East Asia, populations developed agricultural systems based on rice and soy. They never kept dairy herds. There was no survival pressure to develop the mutation. In sub-Saharan Africa, some pastoralist groups like the Maasai developed their own independent version of the mutation. 3 times in human history, this mutation appeared separately, always in groups that kept dairy animals, never in groups that didn't. This is extraordinary. Humans changed their own evolution by changing their behavior. They started farming. Farming created a survival advantage for those who could drink milk. So natural selection rapidly spread the mutation through the population. Culture drove genetics. Behavior drove biology. Humans are the only species to have evolved specifically in response to their own food technology. Once the mutation spread, dairy became central to civilization. Ancient Egyptians recorded cheese-making on tomb walls 5,000 years ago. Romans drank goat milk and made dozens of cheese varieties. The ancient Greeks considered cheese a gift from the gods. Dairy was not just food, it was wealth. A man with many cattle was a rich man. For most of history, milk was drunk fresh and locally. But the Industrial Revolution changed everything. Cities grew rapidly. People moved away from farms. Milk had to travel. And traveling milk in the era before refrigeration was deadly. Tuberculosis, typhoid, scarlet fever, all spread through contaminated fresh milk. The solution came from Louis Pasteur in 1864. Pasteurization, heating milk briefly to kill bacteria, transformed milk from a dangerous product into a safe one. Suddenly, milk could travel, could be stored, could be sold at scale. Governments began recommending it for children. The modern dairy industry was born. Through the 20th century, dairy industries and governments pushed milk aggressively. School milk programs in the UK and US gave children free milk daily. Advertising campaigns made milk synonymous with health, strength, and childhood. Milk consumption skyrocketed. A cultural habit became a global industry worth hundreds of billions of dollars. And now the question everyone asks, is milk actually good for you? The answer is complicated and depends almost entirely on who you are. Milk is genuinely nutritious. It contains high-quality protein, calcium critical for bone density, vitamin B12, phosphorus, potassium, and vitamin D when fortified. For populations that can digest it, it is one of the most complete single foods on the planet. But for the 65% of humans who are lactose intolerant, fresh milk causes real problems: bloating, cramps, diarrhea. This is not an allergy. It is the body functioning exactly as biology intended. If you are lactose intolerant, you are not broken. You are the biological default. And the famous claim, milk builds strong bones? The reality is more nuanced. Studies show countries with the highest milk consumption also have some of the highest rates of hip fractures. Because bone health depends on exercise, vitamin D, and overall diet, not milk alone. The bottom line: milk is one of the most remarkable foods in human history. It helped civilizations survive famines. It drove human evolution. It built global industries. But it is not a universal food. Whether it is right for you depends on your genetics, your ancestry, and your individual biology. The cow does not care either way. So next time you drink a glass of milk, remember what you are actually doing. You are participating in a 10,000-year-old experiment, one that changed human genetics, built ancient civilizations, survived famines, created global industries, all from one creature's decision to try something that should have made them sick. Humans did not adapt to milk. Milk adapted us, and we have not been the same species since.